Today on the Unmasking Minds, Empowering Mental Health Conversation podcast.
It's only one thing worse than having a drug addicted parent, and that's having two.
We talked to twins who had a traumatizing childhood, and it took a toll on their mental health.
I guess that manifests itself in many different ways throughout our lives because we didn't talk about it before, and we certainly didn't talk about it afterward.
Their story and how they overcame so much is coming up on the podcast. Make sure that you don't go anywhere. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your boy Anthony Redmond, always known as the Doc. Welcome to the Unmasking Minds, Empowering Mental Health Conversations podcast, the show where we are aiming to break the stigma surrounding mental health. And we want everyone involved in the conversation. And if we all work together to help tackle this problem, we will be able to inspire change. In today's show, we will talk about resilience, overcoming adversity, and thriving. Joining me right now is Byron and Brandon. Shelby.
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good,
What's
man.
going on, my brother?
Welcome here.
Man, thank you for having us, man.
I'm gonna start with Brandon. Brandon, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Married, been with my wife for going on 24 years. Married for 16 years. We have 4 beautiful sons. Currently reside in Southfield, and CEO of Seal Mechanical for the company that my brother and my best friend co-own. And I also work at a college not too far from here, actually, in the HVAC industry.
Okay, all right, Byron, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm in the construction field, too, of HVAC. I'm also 42 years old, just in case anybody wanted to verify we was twins. But So, with my wife for 16 total, 14 married, 3 children, and 2 dogs. She's not going to let me not include them in. Okay. Co-owner also with Seal Mechanical here in Michigan that we've been owning and operating for several years. I am I'm an avid push-up guy. Okay. I'm looking for any push-up challenge anywhere. Okay. All right. Okay. That's what I do. Okay. I outdo you in push-ups. Okay.
All right. All right. So welcome, and I'm happy that you guys are here today. Took the offer. I invited you, and I thought you guys would say no.
No, congratulations.
Because the reason why I thought you guys would say no, because the stigmas that's surrounding our community, especially with Black men. Stigmas that we don't like talking about mental health. We deny it and we deflect it and we run from it. Agreed. And I'm glad that you guys are here, and we all have a colorful story. And I know that you guys have in the past had troubles with your upbringing, your childhood life, surrounding family. Anyone want to elaborate on?
Well, I mean, yeah, I like to start off the story by saying, and I know I said it, once before, but I like to say it's only one thing worse than having a drug addicted parent, and that's having two. Well, we had two. We lived with both of them. One of the greatest sins of my mother is that she spoke very, very well, and she taught us how to speak extremely well. So no one knew what was going on at home. Right. Okay. They haven't the slightest idea. None of the counselors, the principals, the sensible, nobody knew what was how long our heat was off. Right. Okay? Or the last time we ate. They had no clue because we spoke and we presented ourselves extremely well, like we were taught. So, this is great that a story like this would come out, because it would speak to like the brilliance of my mom and the resilience of us. Yeah, because my mother did teach us how to speak extremely well, how to present ourselves in front of others, so on and so forth. So now that we are adults, and we're in our 40s now, we're starting to deal with our children and the things that's going on with them. Now we're starting to clarify, different little things. So, no, this is a great opportunity. I love it. I'm happy to be here because I do think, honestly, with a certain level of arrogance, that anybody that's going to teach anyone how to be better or how to be better with other individuals would be twins. So to have your first show,
I like that.
right?
I like that. Yes.
When it comes to relating to another human being, your first show being identical twins, I mean, speaks to the severity of what it is, the message that you're trying to get across. Because, I mean, me and this guy has gotten along all our lives.
That's great. Anything you want to add to that, Brenda?
For us, our story began, especially when it talked about abandonment, back in 1988. With our two drug-addicted parents, not uncommon at that particular time. Is when the entire country was reeling in the black community from this new thing called crack, and it took hold of our parents. Same with heroin as well. And there was a time where our parents made the choice to get better, and they did so abruptly. They didn't necessarily sit us all down and tell us what tomorrow was going to look like without them being there. It just kind of just left. And I guess that manifests itself in many different ways throughout our lives, because we didn't talk about it before, and we certainly didn't talk about it afterward. And it kind of is kind of poetic in a twisted type of way that the stigma would exist in the black community surrounding mental health, especially when it comes to needing to take accountability, and that is a part of resolving the issue as well. So if you can't talk about a thing, then that thing didn't exist, and therefore you can't resolve it. Right. So it's just always there, and I think that's a part of it. And we're not ashamed to talk about it.
What is abandonment? When you hear the word abandonment, what do you think? What jumps into your mind?
To me, the way I internalize it is, I guess, a part of separation. Abrupt. Usually without much responsibility on your end. Okay. And usually abandonment kind of leaves you harmed in that you didn't contribute to the motive. And that's, because I'm okay with something being my fault and I had a part in it, but generally to be abandoned for me means that there was nothing you could do to, stave off the eventual action.
Me personally, I think abandonment is relinquishing your control over the situation, because you're overwhelmed. There's too much going on. That's the only thing I really can think about, especially when it comes to my dad. Like, bro, you had to be overwhelmed to leave 6 kids on Christmas Day. Man, yeah. Especially knowing the man that I grew up with. I know it had to be a lot on both of them, And so abandonment to me definitely is just that, abandoning your post, relinquishing control, giving up.
So abandonment is not a part of the DSM-5, okay? Abandonment is an issue, is an informal term that describes a strong fear of losing a loved one or them leaving a relationship, okay? And it creates fear, trauma, and anxiety and stress. Now, anxiety, stress is a part of DSM-5, but not abandonment, okay? If abandonment is not treated, it turns into personality disorder.
What personality disorder?
More like borderline personality disorder.
Oh.
But I'm not saying you guys have borderline personality disorder.
No.
I'm not saying none of that.
I heard it though.
Right. Yes. So when you don't treat the abandonment that occurred in your life in the past and you let it sit and manifest, your brain, man, our body's made up of chemicals, right? Pathways, neural pathways. If faster, it becomes more deep rooted. You start behaving a certain way in relationships. You have fears that, somebody's going to walk away from you, or you're going to fear that I might lose my job, or you just walk around with this deep sense of fear. And that fear leads to anxiety and stress. And later, borderline personality disorder.
So what is borderline personality disorder?
It's a deep conversation. I'm gonna say that for next time, all right?
Okay,
it's
yeah.
deep. And I don't treat borderline personality disorder because it's too complicated to treat. I don't like to treat any personality disorders. It's hard. Because people, they do not see themselves. They don't see their dysfunctions or anything, okay? And you can tell pretty much. Borderline personality people are hard to get along with. You just cannot rationalize with them. They just so complicated to get along with, okay? So if you think you have it, you don't. You don't think that. More of the fear and anxiety and the stress from it and the trauma, yeah, it's definitely there. Because you could recall that trauma.
For sure.
You remember the cold air blowing through the door.
Yeah.
Right? The door swinging, right? So you vividly telling me the trauma that impacted your life. Confused. Your brain is 7 years old? Your brain is still young. And your brain internalized that trauma. It's a part of you. Poverty is a part of me, right? That's why I work so hard. Because I feel like I'm gonna wake up one day and I'm poor. That was an uncomfortable feeling. I never want to feel that again. But I think about it every single day. I might have a dream about it once in a while, or I might freak out, look at my bank account. The money is still there. The money is still there, right? I'm feeling good, right? But I have things that I do for my coping mechanism to help me not to think about poverty.
And that's all you can do is cope?
It's coping. That's it. When you learn how to do good coping strategies and change your neural pathways, the way you think, yeah, you could overcome anything.
So the goal is to build stronger pathways, pretty much, than the one that's already been created. Okay.
Right. So our brain is like plastic. They call it neuroplasticity, right? It's like plastic. You can reshape and reform your neural pathways. Your neural pathways, for the viewers, it's like, as a child, you used to go to the store, you used to cut through a little pathway, and in the grass, you see a groove in the grass. So your thinking, your thoughts creates deep grooves in your brain. It could be pathways of dysfunction. Okay. For example, you say your parents was abusing drugs. It was pathways of dysfunction that when their brains say, I need it, any means necessary, they gotta go get it. It's not their fault because that's in a DSM-5, drug abuse. okay? I don't know what happened to them. I don't know they had traumas in their childhood life. We knew that in the 80s was the crack epidemic, you know what I'm saying? That people in a minority community, black communities, was using crack cocaine and destroyed our communities.
Absolutely.
Across the U.S.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Destroyed us.
Yeah.
So it's trauma, right? Are there any recurring patterns of situation in your relationships where you feel abandoned or fear abandonment?
It's very possible that I haven't closed that gap, and I may still be, experiencing some type of behavior that is, as a result.
Right.
But no, I haven't. The only way that I can possibly get kind of like a idea of how people are receiving me is through feedback.
Okay.
And I haven't heard anything in that way, but it could very well be there.
What about you, Byron?
Every time my wife leave. Every time my wife leave, I don't trust where she going, what she doing, who she talking to. I definitely see it. I definitely see it in myself. I definitely see, the lack of trust and the lack of belief. And, it could have been because I was cheated on, not necessarily abandoned, but who knows? Right. Maybe that was 1/5 of my issue. Right. You know what I mean? And then you add in the fact I was cheated on, maybe that was 3/5. Right. So now we up to 4/5. Right. Who knows? So right. I haven't the slightest idea, but I don't know. I trust. Right. I only trust what I can see.
So loyalty is everything to you.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. If I find out you cheat on your wife, or you cheated on your husband, that's activating my spidey senses already. Right. Okay. So, yeah, no. Yeah, that abandonment situation goes deep. I know I have not solved that problem. I know that, I accept that I'm a mixed nut, but you know what I mean? Right.
How has the fear of abandonment affected your ability to trust others? Like a deep connection trust.
Real talk, I question my twin brother. I know I shouldn't. Right. Because he's never given me any indication that he would do anything against me. But it's hard when that's all you've seen, that's all you've grown up with is I remember me and my sister, I used to ask my sisters. I used to say, dude, how could our parents do that? Because I really do think that drugs sometimes is kind of like a selfish indulgent. Right. It's a very pleasurable, just all pleasure. That's what it is. And I asked my sister one day, I said, man, how you had a daughter, my niece. I said, man, how could a mother do that? She said, I could never. I could never. I don't know. I don't know. But since that question hadn't been really satisfied or answered, it's like, everybody is suspect to me. So.
What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I would agree. What I typically do with relationships is I kind of temper them, prevent them from getting to the point where I know it can impact me in the event it ceases or it breaks down or there's some sort of issue. I don't allow myself to become so close to people to where I'm kind of like dependent on them, things of that nature. So I'm very careful in that. Okay. And I know for a fact I've sabotaged relationships over the years, certainly.
On purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. Yeah. And, left those people probably, confused. What happened? Right. And I've even had that question, come up. And, I'll just come up with something. But for the most part, in an effort to, prevent that pain, I kind of, play chess with my emotions so that I know I wouldn't have to face this in the future if I destroy or start the, the fissures and the cracks now, because something's going to happen to, completely break it, and it's not on me anymore.
I never thought about that. But you know what? You absolutely 1,000% right on that, because that's generally what I would do in relationships with women, is that if I was kind of like hitting a financial pocket, man, the first thing that I'm telling, let's go ahead and break up. Yeah. Let's break up to prevent you from breaking up with me, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm broke as hell right now. You know what I mean? I just beat you to the point. You know what I'm saying? Let's just end this right now. You ain't got to embarrass me. I ain't got to embarrass you. We just go ahead and end it. And I do that every single time I hit a financial pocket.
What about with your wife? How do you deal with it with your wife?
That's why we married. We married because I tried to break up with her. And she was like, no. I'm on my way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was like, I'll be there in about 20 minutes. I said, did you just hear what I just said? Uh-huh. I think we need to go our separate ways. Right. I wasn't working. Uh-huh. I had just came from Texas. 2008. Everything is in shambles at that time. Right. Starting a relationship with a chick who got a child? Mm-hmm. Man, hell no, I wasn't trying to do that. Right. Right. But she would not let me break up with her. Good. So I just said, yeah, that's what. Hey, and I'm still trying to have her tell me what it is that she's seen at that time. You know what I mean? So give me some motivation. But yeah, she would not let me break up with her. Is the reason why I ain't gonna even hold you up. We together now. I love my wife. I love that she did that, and she was the only girl to do that.
It's the maturity in her. So she knows this part about you? She knows that how you feel deep down inside? Have you been vulnerable enough to her?
To a black woman? Hell no. No. Vulnerability to a black woman is...
Why is that?
That's a bullet in the damn chamber, man.
Why is that?
I don't know. Separation anxiety, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know why.
What do you fear is going to happen? If you just be like straight up just vulnerable with your wife. Like, hey, these are my thoughts. And I've been suppressing this. I got this mask on. And I want to take this mask off right now. And I want you to see Byron. And I don't know if you do this with your wife. I want you to see Brandon. I'm going to take this mask off and this is who I am.
I don't want you to, you know what I'm saying, pity me at all. Okay. And I find that to be to me personally, to be a great disrespect and a sign of weakness. Could be wrong.
Same way? Absolutely, 100%. I think that, personally, that it does signal weakness. Whether women want to admit it or not, doesn't get them wet. I can tell you that. Have I tried it? Certainly. And I think that probably wasn't the best way to convey. Maybe it was the topic. That probably wasn't the best approach. But have I tried to be vulnerable? Absolutely. And I think that all men have attempted. Because we hear it so much. I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to open up to me, be sensitive. But that's not the guy that they let, bust it wide open. Right. That's not who they cheat on you with. They don't cheat on you with, the tenor at church. It's not that guy. They typically cheat on you with the guy at the bar. Right. So do they, is that something that we want to do? And I'm very observant, obviously, because, we had to survive. And paying attention to especially women and to an extent my wife, I listen to what they say with a grain of salt, but I more or less watch what they do. So, and that usually informs my behavior. I'm going to watch you. So I don't, I'm be honest. I'm not somebody who's going to be, open, forthright. I'm going to be a little bit more stoic. And it could be, a coping mechanism, a protective, thing that I do. But so far, it's gotten me, favorable results. So I can't really argue that it's not a good tactic.
Do you think it's the stigma in our community
Oh yeah.
that black men gotta be this way?
Yes.
We gotta be hard, direct, the man's man.
Yeah.
It's a stigma. Do you believe that?
Yes.
I had 3 sisters.
Right.
Ben was the only man that they let come in the house. Okay, was the ones that had that type of persona.
Right.
So, irrespective of what they told me, because they told us the polar opposite. Okay, as they little brothers, they told us idealistically what they wanted, but in what they actually showed coming through the doors, it was the total opposite. So like you just said, I watch what you do. Right. The hell with what you say, but what are you doing, right? And that's what we tend to have went off of. Right. We have an uncle that our last uncle, Uncle Chance, and he said, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. So that right there, he told me that at 16 years old. And that right there, it was like, okay, yeah, no. I mean, I just because I can tell you some wild shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I need to see what you're doing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, I got to go off of that. I mean, I got sisters, I got a mother. They say one thing, and they shown something totally different. Okay. That's who was walking through the door. Totally different. Okay. Every time.
Do you think that the traumas and the fears and anxiety shapes who you are today?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I think it shapes everybody. I think it's more prevalent now. Right. Negativity is more prevalent in shaping people now more so than ever. Right. I was just sharing with my brother a couple of days ago that I seen a comment of a person who had epilepsy. Right. And they were just sharing their story. And the person in the comment said, "Dawg, I can't even say anything negative." That's all they said. 21,000 likes for that comment. The one above it, 300. The one below it, 3 likes. Meaning, what that said to me is that people are more prone to negative reinforcements than positive now, unfortunately.
Yes.
So it's the dominant, you know what I'm saying, perspective that people have. It's the starting point now. Where in the past it used to be positive and then it kind of trickle into something negative. But now it's negative and then you kind of got to, move this out of the way, move that out of the way to get to the positive. Okay. So,
Striving towards the future now. Okay, and I know you guys been through a lot. Now you're thriving now. Let's talk about thriving. Like, what happened? What made you like, it's time. I got to start thriving now. I can't bathe in this trauma, this abandonment stuff, and this fear and this anxiety. I have to thrive now. What changed in your mindset to say it's time?
Yeah, I think to what he brought up earlier about our brother passing away, very influential, very brilliant mind, just gone. Just here one day, gone the next. And that also occurred with our best friend, right after our father passed. And just seeing so much brilliance and everything that these people have done, though their memory remains, you think about, okay, well, man, how can I make more of an impact? And how can I, do more to leave more so that, I can kind of sort of live forever. And, sitting on the couch and not doing anything and being, unproductive isn't going to immortalize you. And I think every male, irrespective of who you are, where you are, seeks to be immortalized. I think we all do. And you want to be revered like Tupac in the eyes of Jada. You know what I mean? Be brought up every 24 hours like it was a contractual agreement. That's how every man wants. And I think that's what I wanted, especially after the pandemic, seeing so many things get shut down. And you only thing you can do is think. Right. And you had to think about death more. Right. Because the possibility was so there. So, okay, well, man, once this is over with, how are you going to contribute to the future and make the greatest amount of impact? Right. And you had to face that. You had to honestly think about that. I mean, I think about, black women, how, they absolutely blew the doors off of progress and progression. Mm-hmm. They just, you had banks, saying, hey, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. They started trucking companies. They started, I think was the first all-female firm recently. They're just advancing in all areas, and it's no coincidence that it's after the pandemic, because it forced us to kind of sit down and think about, what we're going to do after this thing is over with. So, same thing for me. I wasn't immune. There were some things I had to, come face to face with. My wife helped me do that because, I couldn't run from her. There was a curfew. Right. So I had to sit there, and after I got done playing the game, we had to think about things. And, even her, she got her master's degree, as a result of being in the pandemic. But, so, I think that those who were, just needed a moment to breathe, right, got that opportunity, got that breath, right, during the pandemic. Right. So after that, we started working really, really hard on, the HVAC. I went into HVAC. My background is in corporate America, and, I just saw what they were doing. So I joined forces with them to bring a bit of the professional world over to the HVAC industry, which is, more specialized, skilled, and I bring some, some soft skills. So, I want to bring that over and also become immune to the ebbs and flows of the economy. Right. Because HVAC definitely was insulated from anything that was going on with the country, because there were certain requirements, things that were needed, So, looking at that, looking out the landscape of what could possibly occur, I just figure that HVAC is probably going to be the best thing for us, for me, and to be, almost like gasoline to drive an engine behind my brother, who's a wizard. It's probably too easy for him. Right. For me, it's challenging because, I come from a different world. But it's interesting enough, and it's galvanized us, right, us men. My best friend, guy we went to school with since 6th grade, 7th grade. Right. We've, now have this company together that's doing really, really well. So, the thriving component is not without its fair share of anxiety. It's a tremendous amount of anxiety associated with it, because it's all new. All new, and it's all on you. Right. Whether you succeed or fail is all on you, and that's challenging.
I commend you guys. You guys been through a lot, and you overcame a lot, and you're thriving. You've been successful. You marry. You're a father. You're a husband. You're a business owner. and the traumas that you've been through. And a lot of guys can't get through it. They fall flat on their face. And a part of this podcast for me is to educate. I want to educate our community, all communities. Like I said before, that mental health has no color. It's just people struggle with their lives and they need help, they need direction. And I know you guys are going to touch millions of people with this story. And I thank you so much for being a part of this. And I'm going to definitely invite you guys on future topics. I enjoy this. Hey, I applaud you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to leave the viewers with the word of the week. Okay, the word of the week. Your mental health just as important as your physical health. Remember to be kind to yourself, practice self-care, and always reach out for support when needed. You are a strong, resilient, and capable of overcoming any challenge that comes your way.